UFC 254 coming up, headlined by Justin Gaethje versus Khabib Nurmagomedov, and I'm just here to go over the main card. So first thing I want to get this out of the way, these fights are happening on Abu Dhabi time. So if you're in the Midwest, the fight card's starting at 1, and if you're on the West Coast, the fight card's starting at 11. And I don't think out of my 13 subscribers there's anyone else who doesn't live in the Midwest or the West Coast, so that handles that. First fight up on the main card, we have Magomed Ankalaev versus Ion Cutelaba. Now, this fight originally happened in February, where Ankalaev got the win, but it was down to some, I'd say, shady business. So if you know who Ion Cutelaba is, he does some theatrics inside the cage, the Incredible Hulk gimmick. But one of the things that he does is, if he gets punched by like a solid, clean punch, he will act rocked and almost like play possum almost. I don't really know how to describe it. And he did that and essentially fooled the referee into stopping the fight. So they're running it back. If you ask how I think it's going to go, I'll give the nod to Ankalaev. There's a saying in MMA, there's levels to this, and I think Ankalaev, he's just on another level. You're not going to get great action for the value. I mean, he's minus 300, so just not great value. Next up, we have Lauren Murphy versus Lilia Shakirova. Now, this fight was originally supposed to be Lauren Murphy versus Cynthia Calvillo. It would have been a number one contenders fight for Cynthia Calvillo if she didn't test positive for COVID. In steps Lilia Shakirova. She's 8-1. She's from Uzbekistan, making her UFC debut. And I think Lauren Murphy's just going to steamroll her. Lauren Murphy, grizzled vet of the UFC. And again, there's levels to this. Listen, you can win all the fights you want out in Uzbekistan, but once you step into the best organization in the world, you're going to be met with resistance. I expect Lauren Murphy to push through the resistance, and I'll say Lauren Murphy by unanimous decision. Next up, we have Alexander Volkov versus Walt Harris. Two heavy-handed heavyweights. Both are coming off of losses. Volkov lost to Curtis Blades. Walt Harris lost to Alistair Overeem. Now, Volkov, I'm not saying his hands aren't as heavy as they used to be, but Volkov has not looked that great in his past couple fights. Lost to Derek Lewis. He beat Greg Hardy, like the Greg Hardy that used to be in the NFL Greg Hardy. And then lost to Curtis Blades in the last fight. And don't get me wrong, Curtis Blades obviously the cream of the crop in the heavyweight division, or he's up there. But I just don't think he's at the same level that he was. Walt Harris. Every time I've watched Walt Harris fight, or actually the only one form of resistance that I've seen him come up against was Alistair Overeem. And if you watch that fight, it was simply down to Overeem's technique and Overeem's experience. Overeem's been there so many times, he knew what was going on. Despite the fact that he got rocked in the first round, Overeem just turned it around and used that experience against Walt Harris. I don't think Volkov will present that same threat, so I'm going to go with Harris in this one. He's at plus 150, and I'll say knockout in the second round. Next up, we have Robert Whittaker versus Jared Cannonier in the middleweight division. Now, if Cannonier wins this fight, it's as close as it's going to get to 100% that he'll fight Adesanya for the title next. If Whittaker wins this fight, he should fight Adesanya in a rematch, but I don't know if Dana's about that. But looking at this fight, Jared Cannonier, very heavy hands, knocked out Jack Hermanson, beat Anderson Silva with leg kicks, knocked out David Branch. Jared Cannonier actually used to fight at heavyweight, so that's scary. And now he's fighting at 185. But Robert Whittaker, I mean, he's game. He's been in wars. Fought Yoel Romero for 50 minutes. Had probably the best showing that anyone's put up against Israel Adesanya, other than maybe Marvin Vettori. But I'm backing Whittaker in this fight. Whittaker's striking is just on another level. I know he kind of gets overshadowed by Adesanya as the best middleweight, let alone the best striker in the middleweight division. But Whittaker's got some advanced striking. I think he's going to keep the distance on Cannonier, make Cannonier frustrated. Again, there's levels to this. I don't think Jared Cannonier has fought somebody on the level of Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker, again, he's the cream of the crop in the UFC. And I really want to see him get another shot at Adesanya because I think that's going to be a really fun fight. So in essence, I'm backing Whittaker. It's a 3-round fight, so I'm going to say Whittaker by decision. And those odds are like minus 105 right now, so you can get some good value for that. Finally, the main event, Khabib, Justin Gaethje, for the undisputed lightweight title. Now listen, Styles versus Styles, this is Khabib's toughest test. Justin Gaethje was an All-American wrestler. He does have heavy hands. He will keep the distance. He will punish you with leg kicks. But at the same time, there's something about Khabib that just, he's going to push you against the fence, he's going to make it uncomfortable, and he's going to take you down, and he's going to do it all night. in the back of my head, I can see Gaethje knocking him out. I can see a Gaethje knockout in round 2 or round 3, but everything has to go right for Justin Gaethje in order to get that. And I think Khabib, there's more opportunity for Khabib to take him down than for Justin to knock out Khabib. I didn't phrase that well, but I think you understand where I'm coming from. And listen, I think it's just going to be one more in the win column for Khabib. I'm going to say Khabib by round 4 submission. Despite the fact that I'm the biggest Justin Gaethje fan on the planet, I love watching this guy fight, and I desperately want to see him win. I'm going to say Khabib, rear naked choke, round 4, 29-0, and hopefully we see him fight Tony Ferguson next. Probably won't happen. I might be dreaming. But that's all we got. UFC 254. Again, it's earlier than usual. Make sure to tune in. It's going to be a great night.